So welcome everybody to the second last week. I can't believe it's the second last week. It is crazy where the time has gone. So 2 weeks left. This evening you have the beautiful and wonderful Imogen Cotter with you. So I'm going to hand you over straight away. You can get started, and then as always, get any questions you have in. Anything you want to know about Imogen, I'll ask you all the questions anyway, Imogen. So I'll fire them at you. So enjoy the session, and we'll check in with you soon.
Yeah, great to be leading this session. I know it's usually Eve, so hopefully I can be a good replacement for the evening. But yeah, so tonight's session is, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but we're doing some low cadence intervals at tempo. We're going to do 3 5-minute intervals at a tempo pace, which is like RPE 6, which should feel like it's starting to become challenging. And you can say shorter sentences, but you wouldn't be able to have like a full-blown conversation. So looking for your tempo RPE 6 effort. But what's going to make them a bit more difficult is the fact that we're going to do them at 60 RPM, so they're low cadence, which will mean that they're a bit like strength work. But before we can get stuck into all that, we've got to do our warm-up. So what we're doing now is just spinning easy, getting your body switched on and ready to get up to the intense efforts in a little while. So I kind of do a different warm-up than what is in the program, just because I find that this warm-up works best for me whenever I'm doing sessions. On the road, I kind of do on the road or on the turbo, if I'm doing like a time trial or if I'm doing a Swift race, this is the kind of warm-up that I would do. So starting off now with just a 5-minute block of allowing my body to adjust to the fact that I'm going to be, on the turbo. So like I let my heart rate come up slowly. I let my, legs wake up slowly. And then what I do is I increase the power in 2-minute intervals. So in 2 minutes time, we're going to start doing our first 2-minute interval, and that will be at about RPE 4 to 5. And then just building that up in 2-minute intervals. And so we're just going to do that 4 times. So 4 increases, then take it a bit easy for a few minutes, and then do some sprints just to get fully activated before we head into the interval part of our session. So I hope that you can enjoy this session with me. I was asking Elaine, how does Eve do these sessions? And Elaine was saying that Eve would be roaring like, come on, like you're nearly there. Like that's not really my style so much, but I do encourage this, maybe not as enthusiastically as that, but I'll try and guide you through like what tips that I can give you to make sure that you're doing the intervals as best you can and getting the most you can out of this session. So yeah, hopefully you can enjoy it in a weird way. So 1 more minute of just spinning easy, letting your legs wake up. And then we're going to bring it up to a 2-minute interval at about RPE 4 to 5. So yeah, I just like to keep my cadence for these sessions. Like for the warm-up, I keep it between 80 and 95 RPM. That's kind of just where my cadence would naturally fall, is around 85. So you don't need to do anything special cadence-wise for these intervals. It's just about getting your body switched on and ready to work. So yeah, in 15 seconds now, we're going to start our first 2-minute interval. So there will be a huge jump up in power, but just try and maybe go into a harder gear or increase your cadence a little bit. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. So just trying to find that RPE 4 or 5, seeing how that feels for you, and just stepping it up to that level. So it's a 2-minute block. Shouldn't feel too hard yet. So it's important as well to remember that when you're training indoors, it's a bit more intense than training outdoors because you don't have things like the wind factor to keep you cool. You're sweating more because you're inside and you're not able to ease off on the pedals at all. You have to keep pedaling. So just try and make sure that you're, first of all, not overheating. So it's quite easy to overheat when you're training indoors. And second of all, try and make sure that you're drinking enough. So have a bottle close by and just make sure that you're taking on some water or electrolytes every few minutes, like every 5 minutes in between efforts, that kind of thing. So we're halfway through this 2-minute interval. We're going to step it up to between 5 and 6 RPE. So just increasing it slightly, but that's not for another 30 seconds. So keeping focus on this now.
When you've got a chance, Imogen, you might want to introduce yourself to everybody and tell them who you are, what you've done, and whatever. And then that might field some questions then throughout the session.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's probably a good idea.
You what?
Probably a good idea to tell who I am. I'll just lead us into this next 2-minute interval. So again, step up the effort just slightly here in 3, 2, 1, and going up to between 5 and 6 RPE. So yeah, my name is Imogen Cotter. I'm an Irish cyclist. I was living in Belgium for the last 3 years, racing out there. But I'm actually going to be moving to Spain. I'm back in Ireland now for a bit, but I'll be moving to Spain sometime next year, and be basing myself out of there because I'm racing for a team over in Europe. So I'll have like a pretty full-on racing schedule next year. So just enjoying being home for a little bit. I've been racing over in Belgium, and I also race for Movistar on Zwift. And I'm racing professionally next year, so it's my first professional contract. So
whoop whoop! I was waiting for that. I was like, get that in there, Imogen, and do not hold back.
So that's something I've been working towards for a while. I started cycling back in 2017 through a talent transfer program, and I lived out in Mallorca for a year, training full time with the Cycling Ireland squad on the velodrome, and then I moved to Belgium to race, and then raced in Belgium for the last 3 years, and yeah, now I've just moved home and I'm waiting to see what the next adventure is. So we're going to just increase it again up to between 6 and 7 on the RPE scale. So just making a slight jump up in power, but no need to like increase it massively now. So starting our next 2-minute block now. So again, this one's between 6 and 7 on the RPE scale.
I think you missed out on a pretty significant achievement of this year, Imogen.
No, I just feel like really cocky saying or something.
No, go on. We're all about celebrating here.
I'm the current Irish national road champion.
Whoop, whoop. These women are not, they're not at all going to look at you and be like, who is this cocky one that has come in? Everyone is all about celebrating. So you join the crew of celebrating, because everyone, a lot of weeks like people put in their achievements of the week and stuff. So
oh, I love that. That's such a nice idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
if I'd known that, I would have come in and said it straight out.
Yeah, so no, it's and I get some really wonderful emails each week about just how great the program is, and how, you know, these women then have achieved, whether it's a climb or whether their cadence has increased or whether they've gone further. So yeah, it is a massive space for sharing great achievements. So that's what
great. I love that.
I'm like, get that in there. So now you all know a little bit more about Imogen. If you do have any questions whether you just want to be nosy or whether just an interest, or whether you're like, oh, you only started cycling in 2017, maybe I have a chance in 4 years time to.
You never give up.
Yeah, so yeah, any questions you have, get them in, and I can feel them.
Okay, we've got our last 2-minute interval coming up in 3, 2, 1. So going in about 7.5 for this one. It should feel hard, should be sweating, heart rate up, and legs should be beginning to burn a bit. That's a good sign. So just get into the right rhythm for this interval. And don't worry about, if your legs are burning, that's what we're looking for. You should be able to say short sentences now, but not full conversation. So this is our final block. So just get stuck in and go as hard as you want, because we're going to have some easy time after this. All right, we're into our final minute now. Oh. Let's stay focused. Good stuff, ladies. Let's stay in the zone for this one. We've got 30 seconds left. So just push as hard as you can until I call the time. Great work. 20 seconds. Coming into our last 10. Keep it going. 5, 3, 2, and 1. Alrighty, so easing off now, going into your hands gear, just letting your legs spin out. Oh. And just trying to get rid of any lactic that built up while we were doing that warm-up. So for this part of the warm-up, we're just doing 3 minutes easy, and then we're going to go into some surges. So they're like 10-second hard efforts where you just try and get on top of your gear. So just spin easy for now. Grab a drink, and let your legs spin out. I think I saw some questions come in.
Yep, I was just going to say that. So a question has come in here about how did you get into cycling and what do you love about it?
Okay, so how did I get into cycling? Good question. I got into cycling through a talent transfer program. So I used to be a runner, and Cycling Ireland were holding a program to kind of try and find the next elite cyclist, I suppose, in Ireland. And I tried out. I was living in London at the time, but I flew home just to kind of get a bit of time at home as well. And I kind of ended up getting through to the next round and then the next round. And it was kind of unexpected that I would progress so much, but I got onto the national track team after like 6 months of different tests and different people being cut from the team. So that was how I ended up living out in Mallorca with the Cycling Ireland team. The thing that I love most about cycling is all the different adventures it's taken me on and the different people I've met. I've been all over and I've made amazing friends through it, and it's just a total adventure because I never know kind of what the next challenge will be or the next step that I take will be. So that's what I love about it. Yeah, it's a great sport.
And you wouldn't have met me, obviously.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's actually mad. Like we met just through Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what we actually physically met at the Ross, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh man. So we're just going to start our sprints now. So, well, sprints is a big word for them. We're going to start like their surge efforts is what I would call them. So try and get into a big enough gear, but you can stay seated for these. Kind of, I'm in the middle on my cassette at the back, and I'm in the big ring at the front. And in 5 seconds, I'm just going to try and get on top of the gear. So try and push up my cadence and really get on top of the gear and wake my legs up. So we're going to go in 3, 2, 1. And just pushing on those pedals, trying to get on top of the gear for 3, 2, 1. So it's a very short effort, as you can see, but it's just about switching on those muscles in your legs. You don't need to get out of the saddle. It's kind of pulling on the handlebars and pushing down on the pedals. We don't have a huge amount of recovery in between these. We're only doing 3 of them, and they shouldn't be like super intense. So we're actually going to go again in 10 seconds. So just trying to get into the tough gear. So I'm in my big ring on the front and halfway through my set on the back. And in 3, 2, 1, I'm getting on top of it. So pushing down on those pedals. Keep trying to get on top of the gear. 3, 2, 1. Good stuff. Again, we're just going to take a easy 40, 50-second recovery. And then going into our final one. All right, good job. These might be something different to what you've done before this, but they're, for me, a really great way of getting ready for an intense session or any intervals that I might be doing. So we're going to go again in 10 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So pushing down those pedals. Getting your legs switched on, muscles activated. 3, 2, 1. All right, good job. So that's our full warm-up done. And now we can just spin easy for a few minutes before we start into our low cadence efforts.
I can literally hear women being like, that was the warm-up.
Was that a bit too intense? I'm not sure.
No. It's freezing, so people need it to get warm. Isn't that right? Says me sat here with a blanket around my knees. So if you do have a chance, so questions come in here about any tips for cycling in Mallorca, because there's a couple of people here who are doing the half Ironman in May there.
May, okay, yeah. I was going to say, if you're going out now, it's kind of difficult, because if the weather is bad in Mallorca, if it's raining, the roads are actually so dangerous because they're so smooth. So I was going to say, if you're going now, just be prepared to maybe have to take a few rest days. But if it's in May, then that should be fine. I suppose May is a good time to go. If you're going in like July or August, then it's too hot, but May is probably manageable. I'd say it might be about 25 degrees in May, and generally just good weather. I'm not sure on like the heat acclimatization that you can do at home, but I do know that some people who've done the Ironman there, and something that I've done as well when I can race in Spain, is I have done turbo sessions with the fan off. So getting my body ready for dealing with that heat. That's kind of the only thing that I was able to do. I was training here in Ireland, but I was getting ready for a race in Girona, and I would just do my intervals. After like halfway through the session, I turn the fan off and just allow my body to sweat and get used to that sweat. I've seen other people do sessions in front of like the fireplace or a radiator, just kind of getting ready, getting their body ready for that heat. And thanks to Eve just come on. That's kind of the only thing I could recommend from, you know, sitting at home in Ireland. Unless you can get out there in a training camp or warm weather training camp, the next best thing you can do is yeah, training without the fan, which isn't that fun. Maybe Eve actually has some tips from when she was getting ready for Tokyo. I don't know if can she hear me yet, but I'm sure, I think that they had to do something like a heat chamber, something like that. So they had to do their interval sessions in there. And I saw other athletes as well, like getting ready for Tokyo, training in heat chambers. So yeah, you're kind of, there's a lot of things you can do, even if you're just in Ireland. So we're going to get ready in about 45 seconds. We're going to start our first interval. So our first interval is 5 minutes at RPE 6. So it's a tempo interval. And what we're going to do is 3 by 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, 3 times, and we're going to do it at 60 RPM. So what you're going to do is find a hard gear. I'll be in my big ring on the front, and I'll be in one of the smaller rings at the back. I'll have to play around with it to see what will get me 60 RPM. And yeah, we are going to hold that low cadence for 5 minutes. So the important thing about these efforts is really focusing on keeping everything stable. When I'm doing low cadence efforts, I like to make sure that I really focus on keeping my core engaged. I focus on not letting my hips rock side to side. I try and just make my upper body and my hips as still as they can be. And I just focus on getting the power down through the pedals. So, like I said, I'm in the big ring at the front, and I'm going to go into one of the smaller rings at the back. But we're going to start in about 40 seconds, okay? So take this time now to try and maybe find that gear that you're going to be in. All right. So we're going to start our interval in 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, going down into that low cadence. Remember, this shouldn't be a really taxing effort. It's more about building strength. So you should be beginning to find it challenging, but it shouldn't be something where you're gasping for air. It's more about focusing on your pedal technique and keeping everything nice and steady. So one of the best things that I did for improving my climbing was these kind of sessions, these low cadence sessions, where I just had to focus on keeping everything steady, pushing down through the pedals. And as a result, I kind of found that my pedal stroke got more efficient. I built up cycling specific strength in my legs, and I was able to just really analyze my pedal technique as I was doing these kind of efforts. So even though these might not be a super high power effort, you should feel that they do burn, because you're really pushing down through those pedals, getting some low cadence work in.
Imogen, can you let people know whether you're in the big or small gear and where that sits? Because there's a question just come in about that.
Yeah, so I'm in the big ring at the front, and on the back, your cassette could be different to mine now, but on the back, I'm in the third smallest ring. So you might have a different cassette to me, but I'm looking at my cadence. So what I'm looking at, you might not have a cadence sensor. So what I would be looking for, if I'm looking for a 60 RPM, I'm looking to be doing 1 rotation every second. So I'll count out now, and you can see where you are in terms of your cadence. So I'm going like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's the kind of cadence you're looking for. You want to be in a gear that's hard enough that you're pushing at that frequency. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're really trying as hard as you can, keep everything stable. Like I said, these don't have to be super high power efforts, but what they do have to be is strength building efforts. So trying to get your technique right, engaging your core, keeping your hips still, keeping your shoulders steady, and just making sure that you're not losing any power going side to side on the bike, which we can be guilty of. All of the power should go directly down through the pedals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the kind of tempo you're looking for with these efforts. Great job. Okay, we're coming up to 4 minutes on the clock, so got 1 minute left with this first effort. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's normal now that your legs might be starting to burn. You might be finding it a bit more difficult now, but just focus in for this last minute. Choose something specific that you want to work on. So for me, I'm going to choose to focus on keeping my hips as steady as I can and just making sure that my power is just going right down through the pedals, and I'm not letting my hips rock from side to side. I'm just pushing down through the pedals. I don't want to lose any watts that I can avoid losing. Excellent work, ladies. Coming into our final 30 seconds. Let's keep that up. And remember, staying focused, bring in all those pointers. So steady hips, engaged core, steady shoulders, pushing down through. Coming into our final 10 seconds now. 5, 3, 2, 1, and easing off. So straight away, trying to go down into an easier gear. So maybe going down into your small ring and just easing off a couple of gears on your cassette as well. Ooh, that's tough. If you're doing that right, that should burn. You know, that's what you're looking for. You want to have that burn in your legs. These kind of sessions, these low cadence sessions, are brilliant if you're caught for time and you want to improve things like your climbing or just your cycling specific strength. Because if you think about it, you know, if you go to a strength and conditioning coach, they might tell you to go to the gym twice a week and do squats and lunges and deadlifts, all this stuff. If you don't have the time to do that, doing a session like this is a brilliant way to improve your cycling efficiency, your pedal stroke, your climbing. It's kind of an all-rounder session, and it's great to do it this time of year when you might not be, you might not have events coming up, you might not be racing. So if you think about it, when you're in this position and you're really pushing on those pedals, each time you're pushing down, it's like, that's like you're doing a lunge or a squat, because you're pushing and you're using all of the muscles that you'd be using when you're cycling. So it kind of pays off if you're caught for time. It's a really great session to do. So what we're going to do now is we're in the middle of our 3-minute recovery period, and then we're going to take, we're taking our 3-minute recovery, and then we're going to go straight into our next 5-minute tempo low cadence effort. So if you do have any questions in the meantime, let me know if I'm not explaining something properly, or if you need me to scream at you more. I don't know. But don't forget to drink as well, by the way, because it's easy to forget. So we've got 1 minute left until we start up again into our second effort. Oh, okay. And try and make sure that you're really spinning out now. You don't want to build up any lactate in this kind of recovery time. So really just spin your legs out, aim for like an 80 to 90 cadence, just so you can be sure that you're not still pushing on the pedals a lot. We're going to go for our next effort in 20 seconds. So now's a good time to start playing around with your gears, finding the one that you want to be in for your next efforts. So we're going to go in 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Again, this shouldn't feel like a huge surge in power, so just easing into it now.
Oh.
At effort 6, it should feel like...
Well, Ma.
At RPE 6 should feel like it's beginning to get challenging, but...
Hello.
Hello? You can still say short sentences, just will be a bit breathless. Okay, so if it's helpful for you guys, I will call out the kind of tempo of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if you don't want me to call it out, another thing you can do is just look at the clock or look at a timer near you and just concentrate on getting one pedal stroke done every second. So that's what you're looking for. One pedal stroke every second. So it might just take a bit of playing around with the gearing to find what works best for you. It's totally normal if you're starting to find it a bit difficult now. Cadence count is great. Okay, perfect. It's normal if your legs are starting to burn a bit, but just try and get into a comfortable rhythm with this. And remember everything I said about keeping everything engaged, tight, still, like those things will help with making sure you're getting the most out of the session, okay? So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just kind of try and get that into your head. That kind of tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These sessions always help me with focusing on my pedaling stroke. So because I'm not having to go full gas in this effort, I can really slow everything down. Look at my feet, how they're positioned, how my knees are positioned. Does everything look comfortable? Does everything, you know, I don't want my heels sticking out or my knees pointing in. So it's a really good time to kind of slow things down and focus on your pedaling technique as well. Remember, you've got the push, but you've also got the pull of the pedal stroke. So you can concentrate on trying to get a really efficient pedal stroke while you're doing these low cadence efforts. So pushing down, but also pulling up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, great job. We're 3 minutes into this effort. So we've only got 2 minutes left until the finish of this one. So something I try and do, I'm sure Elaine's sick and tired of hearing me talk about this, but I really try and break down my sessions, my intervals into chunks. So if I have a 5-minute interval like this, for this last 2 minutes, I'll try and focus on one particular thing. So for me, I'm going to focus on trying to not just focus on the push part of my pedal stroke, but also pulling up. But you can choose to focus on engaging your core, your hips, keeping your shoulders steady. You know, these are all things you can just choose to focus in on for that last 2-minute block to make sure that you're getting the most out of this session. So again, I'm just going to call out that cadence count again, just so you can keep that rhythm in your head, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's starting to hurt now, that's not a bad thing. If you're starting to feel the burn in your legs, that's what you're looking for at this stage. Because your legs should be starting to get tired, but we're nearly finished this effort now. We're into our last 30 seconds. So just staying focused right until the end. Great job, ladies. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job, keep it up. Right to the end, we're into our last 10 seconds, okay? Brilliant work. 3, 2, 1, and easing off, going straight into an easier gear, dropping that gear and just letting your legs spin out. So try and get the full advantage that you can out of this recovery period, flushing your legs out, just letting your legs spin easy. Maybe this isn't the most interesting session. You know, some of you might find it a bit, I don't know, people can find this stuff boring. I personally really like these sessions because I know how much they help. I only started doing low cadence sessions at the beginning of last year, and the improvements that it gave me when I was climbing were just huge. So personally, I really value these kind of sessions. Even if they're a bit boring and repetitive, they really, really do pay off. And you know, it's not just something you can do on the turbo. You can definitely do these outdoors if you have a climb near you. Yeah, Gillian, I'm with you. I love to do. If you've got a climb near you, you can definitely, you know, do low cadence efforts on that climb. Brilliant for this time of year, like I said, because you're just building that strength. And even if you're zapping your legs, there's not competitions for a lot of people. So yeah, it's a really great session to do. Just make sure that you're staying hydrated now. We've only got one more of these low cadence sessions left, or low cadence efforts left. So let's try and make sure that we're coming into the last one, you know, focus on what we want to do. Like I said, you can pick pointers that you want to focus on for each effort. But if you do have any questions about the reason behind the session or anything like that, just do let me know. You can pop it into the chat.
So I don't know if you've seen there, Imogen, but people are loving the tempo calling and the cadence sound. Yeah, so that's really helpful. Marion said not a boring session at all. She's loving it.
Oh, good.
And then another question came in then about the half Ironman in Mallorca, around whether there's any routes that you could suggest.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. If I get your email, I didn't see who sent in the message, but if I get your email off Elaine, I can send you on. I have loads of GPS files from Mallorca, so can definitely send on a few for you.
You obviously probably don't have anything in Dublin, do you? But we'll ask. Do you know what's really good? And I'll put that into the chat here. On Cycling Ireland's new website, they have a route finder, and they have different routes available. So I'm going to put that into the chat. I'm going to find this here.
Perfect. Okay, so we're got about 20 seconds before we start our next effort. So again, trying to find your gear now that you want to do this effort in. You should be you should be learning which one's working for you now for the 60 RPM. So getting into that gear now. And we're going to start again in 10 seconds. In 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're heading into our final 5-minute effort, low cadence at RP6. So again, just focusing on the strength aspect of this. Doesn't need to be huge power, just tempo power or an RPE of 6. The main thing is getting that cadence nice and low and just working on pushing down through the pedals each time. So I'll start off calling that cadence. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just call that like sporadically every 20 or 30 seconds, just so you can make sure that you're following the right rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, really trying to find that mind-muscle connection. So I really try and focus on how my legs are feeling as I'm pushing down through those pedals. Sometimes we can do these efforts a bit passively, but if you really focus on that feeling of pushing down through the pedals and really getting everything out of that pedal stroke, you get a lot more benefit from the session. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job, ladies. Let's keep it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes I find when I'm doing these sessions, I can find myself getting really like tense in my upper body. Just try and relax your upper body, but engage your core. Just keep everything nice and relaxed. Just your legs pushing down through those pedals. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job. We're already 2 minutes in, so just got 3 minutes left. So if it's starting to get a bit hard now, that's good. If your legs are burning, that's good. My legs are burning. That's what I kind of want when I'm doing these repeated strength sessions. If my legs are feeling a bit weak afterwards, or if I'm, feeling like they're burning now, that's what I'm looking for. I want that burn. So just settle into this rhythm. We're coming up to our final 2 minutes now. So remember I said last time that I like to focus on breaking it down into 2-minute blocks or shorter blocks within my interval. So for this final 2 minutes, I'm just going to really focus on engaging my core and keeping that power just going down through the pedals. I don't want to lose any power going side to side on my saddle. Down through the pedals. Great job. Let's keep it up. Just stay focused. It's just about staying focused for this final 1.5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're nearly there now. Just stay focused on what we're doing. One, 2, 3, 4. All right, last minute. Okay, so should be starting to hurt, should be burning. My legs are definitely burning. Just make sure you're working at the right intensity as well. You want to feel like you're at RPE 6, so it should feel challenging but not flat out. And you should be able to say short sentences. All right, so into our final 20 seconds. Staying focused, final 15. Great job. 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And time. All right, going into your easy here. And just really spinning your legs out now, okay? Because your legs would have built up lactic acid. They might be burning now. So just really spinning your legs, very easy. And I'm in my small gear now, or small ring at the front. And I'm probably halfway through the cassette at the back. So really just trying to find a nice, easy cadence and not putting much pressure on the pedals. Excellent work on getting that done, because I find those sessions myself really difficult. So well done on getting through it. And they're actually harder, I think, on the turbo. You can do these sessions outdoors, and they might be not easier, but they're a bit more, you have a bit more distraction if you're doing them outdoors on a hill. I find doing them on a turbo makes them more difficult. So congrats, you got it done in a more difficult way. So you can definitely do this outside if you wanted to as well. I can see that Elaine's just sent in the route finder to the chat too. So if you're looking for that, something handy. So what I will do now, like what personally, I definitely make sure that after a session like that, I did an easy spin for at least 5 minutes, just to make sure that, you know, my legs aren't too heavy. If you do a tough session like that and then don't do a proper warm down, a very easy warm down, you can actually feel really bad the next day. So it's important to make sure that you spin your legs out and just get a good 5 minutes at least in. You know, you personally might need more, but that's up to you, but I definitely make sure you do at least 5 minutes. So if you want to, I don't know how to find the session, if you want to let us know if you found it too hard, you didn't like the warm up, or if you enjoyed it, or yeah, whatever it was, give any feedback. Yeah, let us know.
Imogen, thanks a million for taking that this evening.
Oh,
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. We had a couple of questions actually about training for an Ironman in Mallorca, and I was saying about doing those kind of heat sessions, but you might have more experience with that because you did that for Tokyo, did you?
Oh God, yeah, like that's horrific. So yeah, that was probably, oh, I don't want to put the lady off, but yeah, that was the hardest time of my life. But like I did a lot of it in the bathroom where I had the turbo trainer in the bathroom and I had the heat on.
Oh, that's what I was saying, yeah, like doing it in front of the fire or a radiator or something, yeah, without the fan.
Absolutely. Even sometimes in the summer, you just don't need a fan, and it's getting that core temperature up.
Yeah,
and then, you know, we just had to work out our zones in our core temperature, but a lot of mine was done just in a room with the heat blasting for short periods of time. Sorry, Imogen?
I was just saying, it doesn't need to be anything like fancy, because I think sometimes like you can see the Dutch team and they were training like specific heat chambers, but you can just do it like in front of the fire or something as well. So.
Absolutely. There was nothing fancy about my bathroom, I can tell you. And even in the heat chamber in the institute, see, we needed humidity, so that was the difference.
Oh yeah, okay.
So but if it was just heat training, that can be done so easily at home. It's even layering up, you know, in the spring, just really layering up with a lot of clothes either. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, wearing a base layer on the turban, stuff like that. It's true.
Yeah, exactly. But thanks for the company, because I was coming home. I said, I'm just going to, if I say I'm going to log on, it'll make me do this evening. So I said, because I'm only fit for a half an hour. So
yeah.
You kept me going. Yeah.
And there's a lot of love coming in here for you, Imogen.
Oh,
I'd say you could replace Eve. Eve, we don't need you next week.
I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it, because I was hoping I could live up to Eve, so that's good.
Yeah, a load of love saying they loved your talk through. Eve, there's a lot of love coming in for you, saying that they hope you feel better as well.
Oh, anyway, that cadence counter was really good, Imogen. I'm after getting that tip from you as well. So like, it's amazing when you come onto something, you always learn. So that was really good. Yeah.
Oh my God, there's somebody here that said, great session. I'm on fire, even though I'm in the garden this evening. Oh my God.
Amazing. Well done on getting it done, ladies. And yeah, it's the 5th session, so we'll be back with Eve next week, but it was a pleasure to come in today and be able to guide you through this one. And I think there was somebody that I was going to send GPS files to from Mallorca, so if you want to get in contact with me, I don't know, maybe Elaine can send me on your email and I can send you on some GPS files.
Yeah,
And
so
yeah,
Joanne, I was just going to say, Joanne, if you email me and then I can forward it on to Imogen, just because there's a few Joannes and it just says Joanne's iPhone, so
perfect.
do it that way. But before you all start to log off, next week is our final week, which, Eve, you know where this is going, right?
Oh yeah, we dress it up.
We are dressing it up for next week. It is Christmas fancy dress. How exciting! So yes, you can be as imaginative as you want. You can go full on fancy dress. Please do not overheat. Or you can go as low key, or last year we had people who put like lights on their bikes and tinsel. So yeah, you can go as creative or as not creative. It is very much up to you guys. But Brita says bring on the glitter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fancy dress next week, a little bit of fun for our final session. But well done, everybody. Thank you, Eve.
Imogen. RTM.
Yeah, thank
Both
you.
of us. Thanks a million for having me, lady.
Session. Questions come in. Is that Eve's tree I see? Yes, it is.
Yes. I have the tree up. Yeah, ready to go. The benefits of having COVID at a lot of time.
And you had it up for the toy show, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Ladies, I'm going to log off. It was a pleasure being on with you this evening. And yeah, maybe in the future I'll be back on to lead a session, but if there's ever any questions or anything like that, yeah, I don't know. I definitely get in touch if you need to. I'm sure Elaine can send you on my email, and I'd love to help. And I'll send on those GPS files to you, Joanne. And yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thanks, Mel, Imogen.
Thanks,
Bye.
Imogen.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
There's a load of thanks coming in there now from everybody.
I'm so glad I jumped on, because I wouldn't have done that, only I knew that all of you were doing it. So
I think that is reflected amongst a lot of other people. You know, people say how the group keeps everyone going. So awesome.
100%. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Was there many in tonight, Elaine?
Yeah, there was 67 logged in.
Cool.
Yeah. So nice numbers still with another week to go. Yeah,
and it's a hard time of year. People are busy, and I think COVID is just really getting on top of people. But yeah.
And there's been a load of views on YouTube, so there's a lot of people who've signed up and just doing it in their own time. So a lot of that. Yeah. So if there's any other questions, get them in. Otherwise, another week done. One final week left to go. I'm just conscious of the recording, so I'm just going to stop the recording here, and we'll see everybody next week.